Spoilers for Young and the Restless suggest that Michael Mealer's character Kyle Abbott's life is going to change drastically. It appears that he will always think about his mother and son, Harrison Locke. Therefore, regardless of the consequences to his life, he might decide to reconsider leaving the boy on the CBS soap drama. Kyle recently received a photo of Harrison Locke, his 3-year-old son. He then showed Summer Newman, Hunter King, the picture. Throughout the day on Young and the Restless, Kyle gazes at the picture with longing. According to spoilers, he has changed his mind about letting another guy raise his baby. He might be affected by this as we approach the May sweeps on Gly, and R. Elizabeth Lander's character Tara Locke informs Kyle Abbott that her terrible husband has changed since his most recent heart attack. She contends that he has changed into a more compassionate and nice person. She insists, however, that Ashland Locke, Richard Berge, never be aware that he is not Harrison's biological father. According to teasers for Young and the Restless, Kyle could not be able to respect her desires and remain away. Viewers of Young and the Restless are aware that maintaining secrecy in Genoa City is difficult. It appears that the information concerning Harrison and his biological father, Kyle Abbott, should finally be revealed. On Gly and R, a few people in the community gradually discovered the truth about the boy's parentage. The Abbott here might decide he wants to be involved in the boy's life now that Ashland doesn't appear to be a threat. Tara and Ashland just made their way back to New York City on Young and the Restless. However, if Kyle Abbott decides to pursue a relationship with Harrison, that won't stop him from doing so. Kyle might invite Tara to visit his son in secret. According to Young and the Restless spoilers, it will be interesting to see how Summer responds to these choices. Summer and her second fiancé, Kyle Abbott, have been having a great time on Gly and R. Now that they are engaged again, they announce their impending marriage to the world. However, according to Little and the Restless spoilers, Kyle's embrace of his little kid might be detrimental to their relationship. Summer already dislikes Tara's presence and the fact that the other lady has a lifelong relationship with Kyle. If Kyle gets a 3-year-old, he might have to say goodbye to flowers, hot baths, and afternoon rolls in the hay. According to previews for Young and the Restless, Kyle Abbott taking on the role of father may definitely throw the young couple's routine off. Watch the CBS soap opera to find out how Kyle gets completely upended in Genoa City. A storm is building in Genoa City, and this time it has nothing to do with illegal affairs or corporate empires. It's about the enduring allure of fatherhood, love, and grief. The attractive heir to the Abbott wealth, Kyle Abbott, is once again experiencing emotional turmoil. He can't forget his son, Harrison Locke, despite his accomplishments at Abbott and his efforts to move on. Additionally, new spoilers for Little and the Restless suggest that Kyle may be willing to sacrifice everything in order to be the father he feels his little son deserves. Kyle Abbott, conflicted between legacy and love. Kyle has been juggling being a loving father and a man still dealing with a broken heart for months. Once Genoa City's golden pair, his marriage to Summer Newman fell apart due to secrets, jealousy, and conflicting allegiances. The fissures were exacerbated by Summer's job in Paris, her mother Phyllis' persistent interference, and Kyle's overly protective demeanor. However, the true source of friction has always been Harrison, the bright, naive youngster who first united Kyle and Summer, before turning into the representation of everything that drove them apart. There has never been any doubt about Kyle's affection for his son, but he's been obsessed by that love lately. Inside leaks reveal that Kyle has been becoming distracted at work, snapping at his family, and withdrawing from everyone who loves him, including Jack. Kyle's heart seems to be attached to his job as Harrison's father, no matter how hard he tries to move on, and his mounting guilt about not being there enough could eventually drive him to extremes. The Abbott family's fear increases. Although Jack Abbott has always respected his son's dedication to his family, he is beginning to notice some red flags. Kyle has acted carelessly at Abbott, skipping meetings, disregarding emails, and arguing with Billy about marketing choices. Jack attempted to step in, but Kyle lost his temper and accused his father of not knowing what it's like to lose time with a child. Even Jack, who is all too familiar with family sacrifices, was taken aback by Kyle's ferocity. Although he has been telling his son to calm down and concentrate on balance, Kyle's emotional downward spiral appears to be inevitable. Diane Jenkins, Kyle's mom and the most watchful matriarch, is subtly in a panic. She has witnessed such obsessions in the past, and they always end badly. Diane has made an effort to help her son by volunteering to look after Harrison more frequently, but Kyle declines. In a future moment, Kyle is said to yell, "He's my son. I will not allow him to grow up believing that I am merely a weekend father." The unexpected return of Summer Newman Genoa City, and fate throw Kyle a curveball just when he believes he is gaining emotional control. When Summer Newman gets back from Paris, it's not for a quick trip. Y&R spoilers indicate that Summer is returning with a reason, and perhaps a secret. Although she maintains that her relocation was for work, rumors circulating within Newman media imply that there may be more behind her abrupt comeback. Is Kyle missing her, or has she come to reclaim Harrison? The tension is palpable when Summer and Kyle finally meet. Pain, longing, and the indisputable chemistry that once characterized their relationship are all present. However, things are different this time. Summer notices a different Kyle, one who is worn out, agitated, and nearly possessed. And Kyle's whole attitude changes when she says Harrison's name. Kyle gently confesses, "He's the only thing that matters to me now. I can't let him go, never again." Summer is shaken by that admission and starts to see how deeply ingrained Kyle's emotional scars are. It's obvious that she still loves him, but she fears that his fixation on becoming the ideal father could ruin everything else in his life. Audra Charles sees a chance. Here comes Audra Charles, the cunning power player who never passes up a chance to take advantage of chaos. She has personally witnessed Kyle's vulnerability, and she has no problem manipulating it. Audra, who used to have a romantic relationship with Kyle, views his struggles as a personal and professional opportunity. She can intervene if Kyle is being distracted by Abbott, either to assist him or to steal what is rightfully his. According to reports, Audra corners Kyle following a contentious encounter with Jack in future episodes. She says she knows what it's like to feel alone and gives him support. Kyle opens out to her out of a need for understanding, but is it a mistake? "Kyle, you can't save everyone," Audra murmurs. "However, you have power over your future. Take what you deserve first." It's unclear if Audra is referring to his son, his work, or even herself, but one thing is for sure. Kyle is balancing on a precarious emotional tightrope, and Audra may be the one waiting for him to trip. Kyle's tipping point. Kyle starts acting more and more strangely as the days go by. He forgoes crucial business travels in order to spend more time with Harrison. He declines invites, distances himself from friends, and even starts to argue with Diane about parenting choices. According to a significant Y&R spoiler, Kyle is about to make a startling choice that might permanently alter the Abbott family dynamic. According to rumors, Kyle might think about moving out of Genoa City entirely in order to offer Harrison a fresh start away from the mayhem and business politics. However, can Kyle truly abandon everything for his son, including Abbott, his family, and the legacy his father established? Reminding him that Harrison needs stability, not sacrifice, Jack tries to calm him down. However, Kyle's feelings impair his judgment. In a furious argument, Kyle yells, "Dad, I'm not you. 1,000 times you put business before family. I'm not going to make that error." Jack is rendered speechless by that line and is extremely concerned that his son is making a decision he cannot reverse. The heart-to-heart of Summer. Despite their breakup, Summer is still attached to Kyle and is unable to ignore what is going on. She pays Kyle a heartbreaking visit at the Abbott estate late one evening. Harrison is asleep and the house is silent. She discovers Kyle sitting by himself in the dark, gazing at an old family portrait. Despite their fatigue, his eyes are resolute. She whispers, "Don't lose yourself trying to prove you're a good dad. Harrison is already aware of your love for him. To prove it, you don't need to sacrifice everything else." Looking up, Kyle's eyes are filled with tears. "Summer, you're not understanding. I failed to maintain our family together and to keep our marriage intact. I can't let him down either." Summer answers calmly yet firmly, "You won't. However, you will lose him in a different way if you continue in this manner." Both of them are rattled by the chat, and maybe a bit hopeful as well. Because despite all the suffering, it's evident that they are still connected by their love for Harrison. A redemption or a sacrifice? The Young and the Restless appears ready to place Kyle at the heart of one of its most poignant plotlines to date as November approaches. His future decisions may reshape what it means to be an Abbott and a father, according to sources. According to some supporters, Kyle's sacrifice might be quitting Abbott to devote all of his attention to his family. Others speculate that he would temporarily depart Genoa City with Harrison, or possibly join a competing business. However, a particularly dramatic notion raises an even more startling possibility. Kyle might run afoul of the law over Harrison's custody. Could someone contest Kyle's authority to raise his son, especially with Ashlyn Locke's shadow still hanging over him and Diane's cunning instincts always present? That might drive Kyle over the line and compel the Abbott family to come together in a manner they haven't done in years. Future plans for Kyle Abbott. One of Kyle's most admirable qualities has always been his commitment to his son. However, when love becomes obsessional, it may also become destructive on the Young and the Restless. One thing becomes evident to viewers as they follow this story's development. Kyle's journey is about identity as much as fatherhood. Can he be the loving parent he aspires to be and the strong aspirational Abbott here? Or will he lose both because of his anguish and guilt? Viewers may anticipate poignant confrontations, unexpected partnerships, and perhaps even a glimpse of Kyle's repentance in the upcoming weeks. It will be interesting to see if he finds peace with his duty as a father, or if he reestablishes his relationship with Summer. One thing is certain though, despite Harrison Locke's youth, he serves as the emotional glue holding 3 generations of Abbotts together, and Genoa City will be affected for years to come by his father's decisions. Even though Kyle Abbott would give up everything for his son, he might end up rediscovering the man he was always intended to be.